such a pleasure to speak with you both. Congrats on the Haikyuu movie. It's a lot of fun. And Bryson, I was very curious. There's a lot of grunting in the movie and in the series and during these action moments. Are you those always freshly recorded? You can't just go into the back catalog and use like old grunts. What's the process there?
I mean, and Clint can probably attest to this as well. For the most part, we try to record. Well, we try to. We do go ahead and record everything as it comes. We record the dialogue. We record every individual grunt and every individual jump that happens in the moment. If they say like, "Oh, maybe that jump needs to be more intense," we'll take it again. Or sometimes if we do too many, they'll be like, "Well, cut that one out and then we'll use it later," or something. Or if like at the end of the session we have like this big, huge like a big effort, they'll be like, "Well, we have something like that. Let's see if it works here." But generally, we try to keep every reaction unique.
Yeah, sometimes they'll
That's
save the really big one for last. Like if you've got like, if you've got to just scream for 2 minutes, and they'll be like, okay, well, let's do this at the end of the session so you
Yeah,
don't wear yourself out.
I
But the
definitely
only
have a
thing
yeah.
that we recycle, I think, are sometimes very, very rarely like crowd noises because like particularly in this movie, it's like an entire hour of cheering, and I don't know if they recorded all of that fresh. They might have taken some cheering from other places.
Yeah. I was
that's
just gonna
a
chime in. I definitely have a couple of those long screams in this movie, so definitely saved those for the end.
yeah, it's a vocal workout. And Clint, I was curious, what's most exciting about seeing the dumpster battle, on the big screen because it's such an important clash. So it just seems quite, it just seems fitting that it gets the movie treatment rather than being, a couple episodes of the anime.
It is super, super nice, and the movie is so packed. It's so packed, and it's so well animated, and it's so tight. So it was really, really exciting, and it was exciting for me, especially because I've been waiting for this part. For Kenma, this has been the build up for the entire series. To this moment. So I've kind of had a lot of time to get ready for it, and I've kind of really been anticipating it. So yeah, this is really good, and I was very, very impressed with the movie. I worked on the English adaptation script for it, so I got to watch it ahead of time, and so I was just like, oh, more excited than I've ever been to record anything going in on this.
You've gotten to see the whole movie at this point, and I haven't even had the chance
Yes.
to yet. I've only seen my stuff. I can't wait.
Ha ha. Yeah, yeah, I've seen it several times, and it definitely is worth watching several times.
Yeah, you're definitely in for a treat, Bryson. And I was curious, the anime wrapped in 2020. How has it been the 4 year wait to jump back into these characters? How is it returning to Haikyuu?
It's been almost like a glove, really, for me. Like putting on an old glove that like you just know fits. Hinata is one of the earliest roles that I got to play, the lead role in, and he tends to be the one that fans, whenever I go to conventions, he tends to be the one that most fans tend to recognize me for. So I'll either just like be doing quotes in the voice and all that kind of stuff, and so his characterization, his voice, and his energy is just so like locked in my mind that it felt like just returning home to like an old friend or something like that. It was very much like uh we're back at it again, and it felt so fulfilling to be able to come back to characters that I've been with for such a long time in my career.
And Clint, you
Nice.
made a great point. This really is the what Ken Mozark has been building to.
Mhm.
What have you enjoyed most about just seeing his growth throughout this series and getting this really great payoff in this movie?
Well, I think the coolest thing about this with the movie is that, it's a series of games, or a series of matches for the game. And Kenma sort of takes a different role depending on what game it is. He has a whole character arc that goes through the movie, and in one of the games he feels more like the antagonist, and then in another he feels more like the protagonist. So before, Kenmo was sort of a steady character and sort of a background character. In this case, I got to do everything with him. And it was really nice writing the script ahead of time so I could really think about it and think, oh, I want to bring out this emotion here, and oh, I want to bring out this here and this here. And it felt like really a fantastic culmination of his character and the time that I've spent with him. So I feel just utterly satisfied.
And Bryson, this is such an intense movie, and we're seeing Hinata really try to deal with the strategy put forth by Kenma. What do you like most about this movie? Not just showing, this very physical battle, but also Hinata's like mental fortitude really shining by the end.
Yeah, one of the things that I've always loved about Hinata is he's just got this raw talent to him, but he's never really it's over the course of the series he kind of develops that mentality of like finding ways to approach different situations, whereas when he was just starting off he's like, I'm just going to run fast and jump high and that'll be like my thing. So what I do love about this movie is that it does show some of that internal struggle where he's finding new situations that he's never been put up against, playing against old friends like Kenma and Nekoma in general is one of the earliest teams that we meet in the series, and they form such a strong rivalry so early on, and it's so great to see those new situations brought about with familiar faces such as that. And without going into too much like spoilers and stuff, I just wanted to say that there's a lot of really great moments where Kenma has Hinata just kind of like trapped in his zone, and he's got to like find out, how do I get out of this zone? Like I need to adapt my play style to make up for this position that Kenma has placed me in. And I just love that dynamic with any characters in any show. I love it whenever they're backed into a corner and they're having to pull out all the stops to be able to adjust and adapt.
And they
Yeah,
really put him through the ringer in the second game. The second
Yeah.
game was rough. It was a little hard to watch, I think, for Hinata fans. He really he really suffers.
For sure.
and Clint, my favorite scene in the movie, there's this one, it's near the end. There's this first person perspective
Oh
from
yeah.
your character, and it is just an incredible stretch. What was kind of your reaction when you saw just how great that looked visually, and it's just such a big moment for your character as well.
Yeah, it was so cool. The and they did that a couple times. You know, I feel like cinematography in the movie is a step up from the TV series, and they did some experimental things in it, and it's just really cool and really atmospheric. And that is really, I think, is going to really surprise everyone. It was such a cool, such a unique scene, but recording it was insane because I just had to like breathe for 2 minutes or 4 minutes or just, and like breathing heavily like that is really difficult, but we did it almost in one shot because it's such an organic like scene. I mean, I can't talk about it too much because people haven't seen it, but you'll know it when you see it. When you see the movie, you know, it's something that really sticks out.
Mhm. And to the point of the cinematography, I actually caught probably one of the iterations of this like first person view because I was like doing some reactions in the background that you'll hear or something like that. And so I was able to see this shot and I was like, this is amazing. Just like the
Yeah.
3D camera movement with the 2D animation, like it's amazing. It's probably some of the best animation work I've ever seen in an anime film. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, it's truly great. And then I was curious for both of you, and Bryson, you can go first. Haikyuu just has such a passionate fan base, and you've been working on the show for like a decade at this point. What's been just most rewarding about being on this journey with the characters?
A decade. Um, it's been very rewarding because I feel like their journey as characters, Hinata and Karasuno, and even Kenma and Nekoma, their journey is my journey, in that like I was able to join this cast so early in my career. I think I was cast as Hinata about 2 years into pursuing this full time. Or not full time, but pursuing voiceover professionally. And I always loved the parallels to Hinata and his growth. He starts off, he's got this raw talent, but he's got a hunger to get better. And I feel like that just really describes how I started off in this industry. I was very much still a newbie, but I had some experience going to college and doing theater and having all this amateur work behind me where I knew that I could do the job, but then I was presented, like I said earlier, with all these new situations where I had to adapt and improve myself. And I feel like Hinata's journey throughout the series, leading up until now, has really paralleled that a lot.
When we
And then,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh yeah, Clint, I would love to hear the same question for you as well.
Mm. When Haikyuu got dubbed, it had been out for a little while. The manga had gained some momentum and the TV series had gained some momentum. And so people were really, really excited about it already. People knew who the characters were and the fan base was already super, super excited. So this more than anything I've ever worked on, it was so amazing just to see the fan response to it and to kind of jump into that and see how new fans came into it with the dub and just see how that's developed over the years. And that's been like one of the most enjoyable parts of it for me.
That's incredible. And my last question, uh, Bryson, timeline wise, this obviously takes place very late in the show, but I thought the film did a really good job of kind of introducing everybody. Do
Mhm.
you feel like this is accessible for if like somebody wants to bring their partner to see the movie with them, or what do you guys kind of feel about that?
Yeah, and Clint can speak more to this as he's seen the whole movie himself, but there's a lot of reintroduction and reestablishing, and one of the things that I love
Mhm.
about the movie is that it showcases early season moments, early like season 1 moments, but they've reanimated it with the new like super fancy movie budget, and we've been able to like reestablish these characters, reestablish their stakes and their relationships, and I feel like it very much stands on its own as a movie from what I've seen.
Yeah, it does have a lot of flashbacks that cover things. So you do have this idea that like the whole story is told,
Mhm.
and all of the relevant information is there. So I think it's good, obviously, for Haikyuu super fans because it's a continuation of the story. I think it's good for lapsed fans because if you've only seen a little bit of Haikyuu, I think you'll definitely be good, even if you haven't watched it since the first season. And I think for people who are curious for what Haikyuu is about, the movie tells a whole story in itself, and you can you won't catch every little detail, but you'll get a great impression of what the series is about, and you'll see a complete story.
And if you haven't seen
Wonderfully
the
put.
series, oh, sorry, I was gonna say, and if you haven't seen the series and you're curious about like what all the hype was about, you can see this, get a full experience, and be like, I see what I've been missing. This is what
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
about. Yeah.